Hello, welcome. Welcome everyone to Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, the Divine Feminine Way. I am Carla Sanders. I am the Cosmic Crone, and I have a particular take on what Lilith has to say to us during her sojourn in Taurus. So let's begin. First, I'm going to share with you what I read in Lilith, how I approach Lilith in a general way, what she means to me personally, and what I think she means to all of us as she is moving through Taurus. Lilith is the first dark goddess I ever met. She came to me when I needed some help. I needed to shift out of victim mode. I needed to get in touch with rage. I needed to find my power in a particular situation. And Black Moon Lilith was there. All of the Liliths were there. And so I began to explore, who is this Lilith? And why did she come now? And one of my primary resources is the astrologer M. Kelly Hunter, who has written a few books about the goddess in astrology, and particularly she is a Lilith expert. She has a book called The Four Liliths, and another one, and I can't remember the name of it. I forgot to look it up. They're on my shelf over in the office. So if you go to her website, heliostar.com, I think is correct, you will find her, or just Google her, M. Kelly, M. Kelley Hunter, astrologer, and you will find her website if you want to do some more exploration after you hear what I have to say. And so when I describe the three Liliths that I read when I'm looking at someone's chart, she is my primary resource for that. And Lilith herself has taught me more in addition. So it's hard for me to know always where what I've learned from others and what Lilith has directly taught me begins and ends, but that's the way our wisdom works. So Lilith, because of what she meant to me and how she lifted me out of my own depths, healed me, and put me on my path, empowered me, I began to look at the natal charts of my private initiation clients. And that is what I still do. So when women work with me privately, they get a Divine Feminine Astrology Reading, and we pay special attention to the three Liliths, where they're located and what they say about her and her destiny and her mission in life. And I will also do a few standalone astrology readings. I have 2 left for November if you're interested. So all of the Liliths, first of all, Lilith is a triple goddess, and she does correspond loosely to the maiden, mother, and crone idea, but she is definitely a 3-in-1 goddess. And I wrote a series of 3 articles about that a few years ago, and I'll link to them. They're on my blog at cosmiccrone.com, and I will put together some links once I'm finished with this. So there are 3 Liliths in the chart. Lilith asteroid, who stands for the disowned feminine within each one of us. Especially she shows up as our sexuality and everything that stands for in our feminine power. She basically stands for all the things we don't talk about, the things we've been told are unacceptable or unlovable or uncontrollable evil about ourselves. I associate this with the feminine wound, which I learned about through reading Dance of the Dissident Daughter by Sue Monk Kidd. And the feminine wound is basically, because you were born female, there's something wrong with you. You are not as good as. And this is very much connected to what we associate with Eve. So this is the Eve-like part of Lilith, the thread of Lilith that continues to run through Eve, the second woman. I'll get to that in a minute. Then we talk about Algol, the Lilith star, and she is the demonized goddess. She is kind of this universal feminine goddess that when patriarchy came along, they turned all the goddesses into devils. They made her bad, evil, wrong, to be feared, to be forgotten, and her worship was punishable by death. She was basically the Divine Feminine, the Great Mother, who was consigned to hell and to oblivion through being demonized. The people were charged to forget her, to unremember her, and the way to do that was to make her fearful, not awed, but feared. And she's interesting because she calls to us outside of time. She is an ever-present relationship to us in our cellular memory. And once again, it is a disowned, a feared part of ourselves. When she bubbles up, she often shows up in the unacceptable ways, the rage, murder, self-death. And that is because that is what we fear about her, not necessarily what is true about her. And she definitely, we access her through our womb space. We know her. We know this dark goddess, but we do not know that we know. And when we begin to remember, when Lilith shows up in our lives, it can be incredibly terrifying and disorienting. And then there's, and by the way, this star Algol, she is a fixed point. She moves very slowly in the progression of the cosmos. And she lives in Taurus. So Black Moon Lilith in Taurus will be uniting with this dark goddess. And Black Moon Lilith, our featured Lilith of the day, she is the vestigial memory of the goddess before patriarchy. She is that pure, she's well understood as this triune, the corner, the corner of the angle of the triangle of the universal disowned feminine that we fear, that the whole culture fears, the internal disowned feminine that we have been taught to suppress in ourselves. And then this one, Black Moon Lilith, is outside of all of that. And yet she contains all of that. But she is, I say, when we can tap into the energy of Black Moon Lilith, we are remembering the goddess before patriarchy. And that is something that is very difficult for us to grasp as women raised in patriarchy, as human beings raised in patriarchy. So when we tap into her, we are tapping into a great mystery. We are going beyond what we know, certainly intellectually, into something that is truly divine, that is true mystery. She is the void, the emptiness, the cosmic womb. And she has the capacity, she is the ability of that void to come through the vortex into form. She is the great creatrix. Once again, the great mother, and beyond mother, to perfect union that expresses itself through the multiplicity of form. Everything from an atom to a galaxy. And that includes us and everything on this beautiful planet of ours. So this is the one that we are following through Taurus. So who was Lilith? To understand the nuance of what she means as we talk about her, we need to take a look at the mythology. So Lilith is old, as are all the goddesses. She is an ancient agricultural goddess. And in the Fertile Crescent, when people first began realizing that they could they could co-create food sources with the animals and the forests and the fields by tweaking, by encouraging this and discouraging that. And so Lilith became their guide and their teacher, which makes perfect sense as we're about to learn. She was Inanna's handmaiden, Inanna, the ancient Sumerian queen of heaven, the principal deity. And as such, she descended in mythology through time to become Adam's first wife, the first created woman. She was created at the same time as Adam of humus, compost, fertile earth. She was all of the fertility essential to bringing forth the bounty of the garden of the earth. And she brought it forth naturally, with ease, with pleasure. Things grew in her presence. They bore fruit. They fed the people and the animals. They created balance. This was the natural order, the way the world is intended to work. This was Lilith, made at the same time as Adam. Now, Adam was an essential spark. Their union, their lovemaking, was necessary to create all of this. And Adam's work was the animals. He was in charge of naming things. And Adam began to claim that power of the name as superior to the natural and effortless work of bringing forth fruit. And he decided that since he was made of pure clay, unsullied by the nutrients of the earth, intellectual, being of the spark and the direct focus of the mind of God. He began to make God in his image. And he said, Lilith, you have to submit to me from now on. When we make love, I am on top. And you will do as I say, because I have the power of intellect and I know better. I know how for you to do your job. Fertility is subject to my will, as are you. And Lilith said, no fucking way. I am divine. I will never submit. I will not lie beneath you. And she abandoned Eden. She left. Rather than do as she was told, deny her divinity, her co-equal power, she exiled herself. I still hear the story. Women who teach about the power of Lilith, some of them still tell the story that she was exiled. No, she was not sent away as punishment. They could not punish her. She was God, but she went away. And so in this story, I want you to feel how Algol, the demonized goddess, withdrew. She was not sent away. She was not damaged, destroyed, or hurt, or imprisoned. She withdrew. Black Moon Lilith cannot withdraw, but she was buried under a new story. as was Lilith. All of these Liliths inside of us, the goddess, the creatrix. She was buried under the story that she is a demon, that the goddess is evil, that women are the ones who bring evil into the world, that women must be subject to the masculine, that our power is false, that everything about us that is powerful is witchy, evil, must be destroyed, suppressed, and everything that belonged to Lilith and to the goddess became ascribed to the powers of the god, of the masculine gods in multiplicity, and eventually to the one God of monotheism, and to the one made in his image, males. Co-opted is the word. So this is the Lilith we are working with. And she, in astrology, she can tell a completely unique story depending on her aspects, what house she's in, what sign she's in your own chart. So I'm going to speak generally today of what she means to all of us and to our world as she moves through Taurus. So I want to reiterate what Lilith stands for. Soul deep integrity. Wherever she is, all three of them stand for soul deep integrity. You will walk away rather than submit to anything that would suppress your power. That is a common theme among women who are rising. How much has to start falling away? Relationships, beliefs, your thoughts about your history. What you learn to be true turns out to be false. So she represents the change, the often painful and frightening change that we go through as we rise and wake up to the feminine within us. So soul deep integrity and sovereignty. As we learn to love, adore, and appreciate all these things that we were taught were bad, evil, wrong. It's big. So, what does Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, the goddess before patriarchy, mean when she goes to Taurus? Well, Taurus is the realm of Venus. Venus is the ruling planet. And interestingly enough, Venus is the bright and shining embodiment of everything that we have been told to repress in Lilith. She is sexuality. She is desire. She is abundance. She is manifesting of our desires. She is creation. She is art. She is beauty, sensuality. She is pleasure. She is ease. You see her as the empress or the queen. She is associated with Inanna, the queen of heaven. She's associated with, the Christians took her as Mary, the mother of God, who is both elevated and diminished by their understanding of her as the virgin mother of Jesus. She is Isis. These are all represented by Venus, the bright morning star who goes between the worlds. She goes into the underworld and switches places morning and evening. So Black Moon Lilith is entering this realm. And I take that to mean that all of the disowned parts of ourselves and what the culture as a whole, the patriarchy, has disowned, and suppressed, repressed, is going to find a new strength. It's going to unveil itself and be seen. And this will be alarming to the system. It already is. It's not like this hasn't been happening for years, for decades. But it's going to be undeniable at this time and place, because we have reached this level, kind of a saturation point, where the witch as an archetype is waking up. Women who have been afraid to be witches, men who have been afraid to be witches, are now daring to come forth as witches. Lilith, I believe, embodies in many ways the archetype of the witch. She's kind of this in-between space between what we fear and how we work with our power. And so Lilith holds that energy of a witch as well. She also taps into Vesta and the priestess, but she's also empress and queen. She is preparing to rule. So you might imagine her as saying, Venus, let me sit on your throne for a while. Let's remember what it was like back in the ancient times when you and I were one. Before we were separated into these different qualities. Before, you see, patriarchy in many ways co-opted Venus. They put her, they decorated her, they put her on this pedestal as something they could desire, that gave them literally a hard-on. And they forgot that she was not created for them, that she, in fact, created them. Black Moon Lilith and Venus were one. And so they are beginning their journey of reunion here in Taurus at this time, because we have the eyes to see it. So when Lilith enters Taurus, she is wisdom, fertility, pleasure, ease, divinity, integrity, sovereignty. And she is coming out of the shadows. And it is really interesting that she is doing this. This dark goddess is literally having a reunion with the light goddess in the goddess's temple at this time of the pandemic. Why might that be? What prepares us for this shift right now? Well, the dark goddess, the angel of death. You see, this time of Lilith in Taurus, Black Moon Lilith in Taurus, is going to be I think the most intensive time of the pandemic. I think 2020 was a practice run. We are coming into the winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. We are coming into a new place. We've been studying the virus now for nearly a year. We're starting to learn a few things, but it has more secrets to reveal. The impact of having been infected, of having recovered, of having not recovered, how it shows up long term, what kind of immunity is conferred, and of course the great controversy over what kind of vaccine will work, and then all of these societal changes that we do not like as human beings. We do not like being told what to do. We like to maintain what is sometimes the illusion of our liberty. So Black Moon Lilith enters Taurus and travels through Taurus for about another 9 months or more. Yeah, pretty much 9 months. She'll be moving into Gemini next summer. I think she is here to provide healing, to provide hope. As the world as we know it surrenders to the changes wrought by the pandemic, what we will see is a strange dismantling. And I say strange because patriarchy dismantling at first looks like patriarchy gripping, patriarchy winning. But Black Moon Lilith is here on this throne in the realm of Venus to say, I cannot be defeated. I cannot be exiled. You did not punish me. I was here at the beginning. I am here at the end. I continue to create. And here in this place in Taurus, I create with ease. And it's kind of interesting in the sex magic intensive that I teach, and I'm going to open the doors to that again soon. I took a break for this dark Kalayak time around Samhain. I discovered I needed to do that. But sex magic talks about how Eros animates that which we give our attention to. And so we are giving our attention to this virus right now and to all the other things that we don't like in our world. So we are animating that. Black Moon Lilith is here in Taurus to say there is something else you can animate. It will take effort to draw your eyes from that to look at me, to look at what is working underneath in the secret places. But do the work. Go to the effort. Because when you focus on me and remember me, remember what it is like to be feminine, to be goddess before patriarchy, you will find a way through this. This is your healing. This is your teaching. I can teach you if you pay attention to me. So this is what Black Moon Lilith is doing in Taurus. And so Black Moon Lilith is reclaiming Venus, reunifying with Venus while she goes through Taurus. And this has a special message for you, which you can discover when you look at your chart. Where is Black Moon Lilith in your natal chart? And where is Taurus and Black Moon Lilith over these next 9 months in your natal chart? And what other aspects are being made? So as we go through these 9 months, as I do the new moon and full moon readings, and as I see other significant moments that might motivate me to come and take a look at Black Moon Lilith and Taurus chart, we will go into detail. We will see what the specific lessons are in the moment. I'm not going to do a full-blown reading now, but I am going to do kind of a preview of what we can expect. So in order to do that, to get a little bit of focus, I drew up the chart for Sun conjunct Black Moon Lilith, which will happen on May 13th, 2021. And as I did that, I looked at a couple of other charts. But we have a lot. We have 2/3 of Black Moon Lilith in Taurus before we get to that point. So what we're going to see, there are some things happening in Taurus that have been going on for a long time. One is a very long conjunction between Albion, the thresholder, and Uranus, who is, he's a bit of a trickster. Uranus is the one, sudden and unexpected changes. He is the great changer, and he will work with the unexpected, the thing out of the blue, the epiphany, the spiritual epiphany, the sudden accident, the natural disaster, the thing you don't expect. And it can be perceived as either positive or negative, but the fact is, if you believe in a universe where all things work for you, you can work with that unleashing of energy. Uranus is lightning and thunder. And he has been hanging out with Albion, formerly known as QB1 1992, who is the one who is the guardian of birth, death, and orgasm. These transition moments, the thresholds of our lives. And these two have been together all through the second half of Aries, and now they are continuing throughout the first half of Taurus. And Black Moon Lilith, around January, will be making a conjunction to the two of them. So we will see in January, we will know much more about the virus and what that has to say to us, and what it will be actually around the time of the inauguration of the president, the outcome of the election next week in the United States will take effect. And that is when Black Moon Lilith will be conjuncting Albion and Uranus. And then at the end of the month, in June, around the time of solstice and a little earlier, Black Moon Lilith will reunite with the dark goddess Algol. That will be incredibly impactful. It will be summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm not even going to speculate to what that will mean. That moment was presaged almost 2 years earlier with Vesta's conjunction with Algol. Vesta, the priestess, opened the gates of the temple and tended the altar of the dark goddess last fall, a year ago now. And so 9 months from now, Black Moon Lilith will join the dark goddess in that temple. And that space will already have been prepared by Venus. Venus will have made her conjunctions with Algol. Venus will have moved ahead into Gemini, possibly into Cancer. I forgot. Venus moves pretty fast next spring. And something really interesting that actually will be fun, and I encourage us all to plan major festivals around this time. Beltane, May Day, the time of joy, the time of the great rite, the union of the masculine and feminine to ensure the fertility and celebration of all of life on earth, the humans, the animals, the fields, the crops, the flowers, the woodlands. Beltane, that is the time when Venus and Black Moon Lilith will make a conjunction in Taurus. So these are very important times. And I have forgotten the exact moment, but I think it is pretty close to that. There will be a Mars conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. Mars and Black Moon Lilith dance together a lot in Aries, because as Mars was heading towards its retrograde station, and then it came back. It basically turned retrograde in a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. So the two of them danced together for several weeks back this past summer. And next spring, shortly after Beltane, I think, if I'm remembering how I looked at the chart, they will be dancing together. So all of this energy of these personal planets, Mercury have been there. The moon will make a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith once a month as it goes around the chart. The sun in Scorpio will make oppositions, and in Aquarius will make squares to Black Moon Lilith. So as well as Jupiter. In fact, at this moment, this particular time where I selected to do the chart of Sun conjunct Black Moon Lilith on May 13th, that is the day that Jupiter will move from Aquarius into Pisces for, I believe, it will be a brief sojourn. I think Jupiter will retrograde back into Aquarius because Jupiter stays in a sign for a year. It's not time for Jupiter to go into Pisces yet. But at this moment, he is literally at 2957. That is what is happening on this day, May 13th, 2021. So there's going to be a lot, there will be a lot of aspects that will inform the personal planets during Lilith's sojourn will all make connections to her with Taurus, and every other planet is going to have some kind of aspect. She will eventually make a trine to Pluto. And a trine to Vesta. Vesta, who started all this with her conjunction and retrograde on Algol a year ago, she is going throughout this entire time of Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. Vesta will be in her home sign of the priestess. She will be in Virgo, having a lengthy retrograde. And that's really important because those of us who are tuned into our inner Vesta, this is where the priestess, the disowned feminine archetype of the priestess is coming into her own, and the disowned feminine archetype of the witch, as Lilith, is coming into her own. Hecate happens to be on the Aries point, so she is activating the cardinal square at this moment when the sun will be conjunct Lilith. Hecate, the crone at the crossroads, so she is activating the Grand Cross. I think we are at a crossroads, and Hecate is holding that space. This is what we have to look forward to. We have a lot to read. It is not simplistic by any means, and it is universal. And yes, it does mean something to us individually, and I encourage you, one way or the other, to find out where this is speaking to you in your own chart. Where does it relate to your midheaven, your north node, your south node, your nessus? Where does it relate to where you are healing? What in you are you personally healing so that you can become a part of the shift that Black Moon Lilith in Taurus represents, and that this time of the pandemic represents? Potent times for us. And Black Moon Lilith, she is truly here as a healer, a beacon, and a guide, saying, remember your truth, remember your sovereignty. It is no accident that a lot of women right now, a lot of people in the coaching industry are talking out loud about sovereignty and the dark feminine. It's all right here, preparing for this time of Taurus, Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. If you know any of these women, if this is a part of your path, if you are working with any of them or you are one of them, share this information. share this video with them, direct them to come and look at this. I know some of them. I'm going to invite them to come check this out to make sure they have all of the resources that they really need. I trust the Dark Goddess to speak to them and through them as she does me, but they could find something very helpful to them as they do their work. So thank you. Thank you so much for being with me right here, right now. I encourage you to inquire. Ask me. I'll put the link in. You want to do your own Divine Feminine Astrology reading. Find out where all of this is happening for you. And I can help you with that. In fact, I might even add some spaces in November for people to do standalone readings. Right at the moment, I usually have room for 2 or 3, and somebody just grabbed one yesterday, so there's 2 left. You grab the 2 that are left quickly, and I will see if there's time for more. There is also the possibility, and this might be calling to you, the possibility of doing a deep womb initiation, working with all of the Liliths, the fullness of Lilith, in your own body, your life, your mission, your purpose, your healing journey. That is available to you now, and that would include the Divine Feminine Astrology Reading. We always start there. So thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Joy, I haven't seen you in so long since the pandemic. Thank you for being here. I miss you. So I'm going to complete this now. It will be available here and in my group and on the YouTube. So reach out if you need this reading for yourself, and do feel free to share this link with other people. We need to get the word out. We need people to know that soul level integrity, that divine feminine, that union of the light and dark goddess, who are never separated anyway, this is the time. And she is here for you to help you through this time. I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone, and it is my joy and purpose to be with you.